Welcome back to Citizen Arcane, where we discuss whatever takes my fancy, really, but there's a lot of minor league sports and books and so forth. And today I have been contemplating the outdoor spring football world and what it looks like going forward. I do think there's going to be expansion in both the XFL and the USFL next year. I think this discussion of a merger between the two leagues is possible, but even if that does happen, there's going to be fierce competition to see who goes to the bargaining table in the best position. That said, I also don't think every team that currently exists is going to survive, and I do think that this league free agency that I talk about a lot is going to work to the detriment of the fan in at least one case, and we'll talk about that at the very end. Also, at the end of this video, you will know how to levitate. But let's just go from bottom to top, being, I think, the teams that are least likely to survive either in a merger or if the league folds into something else. And we'll just go from, again, worst to first. Even though the first team on the list is currently in existence and the second is not, I think the Orlando Guardians are not long for this earth, because I don't think they didn't have a very good season on the field. Their stadium is not great. I don't think their attendance was all that spectacular, and I just think they are going to wind up folding. The team that is currently not in existence, but I could see coming in at number 16 on our list, is the Tampa Bay Bandits. I just feel like, they were in a pretty good position. I understand that is always going to be a hard market to sell, but they, at least in my mind, have a lot of nostalgia value. Burt Reynolds was a part owner of the original incarnation, and I just have a feeling that they are, there's at least a 50-50 chance that they could come back. Number 15 on my list is the Las Vegas Vipers. I don't know. I just think, Las Vegas is trying hard, has always tried hard to be a sports town. Maybe it's because it tends to be a weekend town, a party city, that most of the people that actually live in Vegas are working on the weekends. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't think the Vegas Vipers are very good. I think their stadium choice was poor. I know their attendance was poor, and I think they are likely to be gone as soon as 2024. Next on my list is the Houston Gamblers of the USFL. Even though, in my opinion, the USFL is currently stronger than the XFL in a number of ways, the battle between the Gamblers and the Roughnecks, I think the Roughnecks win. They looked good. Their on-the-field product is good, and it looks like the fan base is developing, whereas the Gamblers have never played a game in Houston and won't until next year. Unless they have a spectacular season and find a way to capture the imagination of the fans in Houston, I just don't know that if the decision is made. Wouldn't it be great if the decision was made with a game? Loser leaves town, if that ever comes to be, when there is a merger between the two leagues. Next up, the Arlington Renegades. I just don't see much there. I think the XFL having 3 teams in Texas is in large part to have at least one team that's ready to move. I don't trust any of the players involved with the XFL. Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia. I think that they see this as an investment, and we'll talk more about that later. But I don't think the Arlington Renegades are there to stay, in my opinion. Please let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Next on my list comes in with the New Orleans Breakers. Unlike Vegas, New Orleans is a sports city. It's a city that attracts people to go see events. I went to see the Voodoo play of the AFL. They played the Barnstormers, and I really enjoyed it. Of course, I enjoy going to New Orleans, being based here in Atlanta, but I just don't know that the Breakers are really in a position to, again, get fans in the stadium. Let me know what you think about that. Next on my list is the Brahmas, another Texas team. I think they really did a good job with the branding of that team. I do think they're better off than the other Texas teams, except for Houston, when it comes to getting fan support. That is a city that has had, with the Alliance of American Football, they had the Commanders, which I thought looked good, and I think they drew among the top end of the teams that played. Of course, they didn't even complete a season, but anyway. Then I've got the Memphis Showboats. The Showboats, I like a lot of what they're doing, and I could see them really making progress, but I don't see them as a sure thing yet. I don't see them as an instant hit. Again, they also had the Express with the Alliance of American Football, and the first incarnation of the XFL, they had the Maniacs, which I thought was really cool. I liked them. I liked the whole Drunken Miller saga that happened there. I felt like the XFL, the first incarnation of the XFL, did a better job of sort of making the drama real by making the players real with those little buffers, those little asides that I see, frankly, the XFL is making an attempt, but they haven't done it well yet in their broadcasts or in the extra content that is so important to all of these leagues. We've talked about that before. I've got the Maulers, coming in ahead of the Showboats. I like the fact that they did the color scheme change. I do think Pittsburgh could really get behind a team. I don't know, I don't know exactly how they are going to look when they wind up in Pittsburgh. Again, this is another team that's never played a game in its home city. We'll see. Now we're getting into the teams that I think really are strong. The DC Defenders, they're looking good. Of course, they've done well on the field. They've got a strong fan base. They've got traditions already starting that are looking good, and it just looks like a party at the DC games. Even a few years ago, in the second incarnation of the XFL, they had a good feel for them. I had hoped that some of the staff from the original Defenders would come back, but I guess they totally revamped everything. And now we've got the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks look good. They're doing well on the field. They're probably going to wind up really developing the fan experience in Houston that's going to get people to come back, which again the Gamblers have not been able to do yet. We'll see, but I think again the negotiations are going to be stronger for them. Then we've got the New York, New Jersey Generals. I wish that the Generals would find some university in the city of New York that's got that you could make that deal with the city. Hey, listen, the Generals will never leave the city. We're going to the mayor of the city, giving you the logo and the stats and saying, let's find a way to make it cheap and easy for fans to come to the games in the city. Like with free, if you have a ticket, you get a free ride on the MARTA system or whatever. Then, the Stars in Philadelphia, great legacy from the first incarnation of the USFL, looking good. Just in general, I feel good about them. Then we've got the Stallions, which, they've had obviously the best run of any league in the USFL. They had every game was a home game last year. I think this year they wind up with, more than half of their games on their home field. And they've done a really good job overall. I got to go to a game and had a very good time. And these last two, the Sea Dragons, they're a good-looking team. I think that the league is committed to them, and I think overall they're going to really do well. But here we go. My number one team to survive is going to be the Battlehawks, and here's my issue with that. I don't think Danny Garcia or Dwayne Johnson, really care so much about the XFL. I think they're trying to do exactly what Donald Trump did back in the 80s and, force them to get a team or two into an expanded NFL team. The NFL wants to be in St. Louis to some extent, I think, but they don't want to be committed to St. Louis. St. Louis is a market that is, strong, but I think the city itself is declining. I got to go see the Battlehawks play when they played the Vipers, and everybody was into it. It was lots of fun, but the city itself, and that's where I'm from, just doesn't seem like a city on the go. But again, I don't trust Redbird Financial, Danny Garcia, Dwayne Johnson. Let me know what you think. Do you think maybe this is all just a cynical ploy to get an NFL franchise? Have a great day. Again, please do like and subscribe, and check out the links in our comment section.